Alright guys, welcome back to another video with me, Kevin Twist, and we're back. This time looking at the predictions before the season happened, and it's for the Scottish Premiership. Who did I say would finish top? Who did I say would go down? What about the other leagues? What did Lewis and Dillon have to say? Find out in this video. And we'll start with who I said in 12. I said Ross County, didn't I? The team that finished 6th. I didn't see Ross County finishing that high. I also didn't think they would really finish bottom. It was more I kind of wanted them to finish bottom. I thought the two teams I said really low were more who I wanted more than actual realism. You'll see when I go on. So yeah, Ross County I said 12 to finish 6th, and then 11th I put Livingston. Livingston I kind of just wanted them down because of the plastic pitch. Livingston actually had quite a decent season, getting 7th. Unlucky maybe with the split, people will say. You know, like maybe if the split wasn't there, maybe they could have pushed for Europe, maybe they could have finished even just in the top half. But still, finishing 7th for Livingston still a really good season. And then 10th, I say Dundee, who finished rock bottom of the Scottish Premiership. And to be honest, it was the most realistic one, but I kind of just wanted them to stay up just so one of the other two could go down. They finished 12th and not 10th like I said they would. And then in 9th, I said Motherwell, who finished 5th, and she's fine by the way because she finished 5th in the Scottish Premiership, getting European qualifiers for the Conference League next season. Hopefully they do qualify. And then 8th, I said Dundee United, another side that will have qualifiers next season, as they finished 4th in the Premiership, having a very good season. I still thought 8th isn't a terrible season for Dundee United, as they are a decent team with a great keeper in Seagrist. And then brought in some experienced players such as Charlie Mulgrew. I thought it was really good. We've seen them obviously develop young players, as they are known for, of course, so lots of players come from there. And yeah, hopefully they do qualify as well from the qualifiers next season. 7th, I had St Mirren. St Mirren I thought under Jim Goodwin were going to progress, maybe push for top half, and I thought that was kind of the idea. Jim Goodwin would then leave to Aberdeen, who we'll come on to in a bit. And yeah, I quite like Robinson, who they've got in to replace him. We'll see next season with the signings, but I think they've still got a decent manager, so I don't think they will go down next season, is my idea. So you'll have a rough idea for next year's predictions with that. And then 6th, I put Hearts. Newly promoted Hearts, who were maybe a bit unlucky to go down in the first place with COVID and all that. But Hearts bounced back up. I thought top half finish, that'd be great for them coming back up. And then Hearts didn't just finish top half, they confirmed 3rd before the split even happened, with like 5+ games to go. They finished 3rd, which is fantastic, and maybe if the form was a little bit better at times, maybe they could have closed the gap on the top two, but we'll go into that in a bit. And then St Johnstone I had in 5th. St Johnstone, of course, just off the back of double cup winning, you know, they won the League Cup, the Scottish Cup, it was all nice. They were scoring away in Turkey at Galatasaray, it all looked nice and lovely. And then this season's kind of just been woeful, is the easiest way to sum it up. 11th place in the Premiership for St Johnstone after winning 2 cups. I think the manager's maybe a wee bit lucky not to lose his job. I don't want managers to lose their job, of course, but he's maybe a bit lucky that last season was so good that they can kind of afford to have such a bad season, as long as they don't go down via the playoffs. And then 4th, I had Hibs, and Hibs simply, the best way to sum it up, Hibs'd it. They just Hibs'd it. They had Jack Ross, who I thought was quite a decent manager for Hibs, finishing 3rd the season before, to then getting sacked. They brought in a young manager like Sean Maloney, and it's like, oh, this is something new. Sean Maloney, I don't think he really got to sign anyone from what I remember, and it kind of just didn't really work out for him at Hibs. He got sacked. They're now bringing in Lee Johnson, I believe, the former Sunderland manager. We'll have to see how that works next season, as Hibs finished 8th in the Premiership this season. And then 3rd, I put Aberdeen. I thought Aberdeen were maybe just going to get that little bit better this season and reclaim that third spot that they've been in and about the last few seasons. And Aberdeen finished 10th. It was very poor. Of course, last year getting rid of Derek McInnes, who I thought was a good manager for Aberdeen, but I think it's maybe the right time to leave. However, this idea of bringing in the former player, getting Scott Brown into the management team, who was a decent player for them, of course, and he's now retired. They got Bruni. It's not really what they've got. Jim Goodwin in, who I think is quite a good manager for the Scottish Premiership level. We'll have to see if he can form this team the way he wants to play. He's got rid of a lot of players, terminating a lot of contracts. We'll have to see as they finish 10th, so it can really only get better for the Dons. And now the top two, who did I say first, who did I say second? I say the team that went invincible the season before would finish second. Glasgow Rangers are had in second, as I thought Ange Postecoglou's Celtic were able to rebuild themselves and win the title back right where it belongs, back on top of the pile as we usually are for the past decade. And Celtic, well, the Cinch Premiership champions. Now we'll look at my Scottish Championship, League 1, League 2. I just said one ups and one downs, so it isn't Championship. Like champions for all of them, and that's just who I think could go up and who could go down. Championship, we'll start with who I thought would go down this time. I said Morton. They survived, finished 7th. I then said Dunfermline would win it, and Dunfermline got relegated via the playoffs, so very bad season from a very big club. And then League 1, I said Alloa would go up. They finished 5th. Clyde to go down. They finished 8th. So again, both wrong. And in League 2, I said Annan Athletic would go down. They actually made it to the playoff final. And I said Edinburgh City would go up, who actually faced Annan Athletic in that playoff final and won. Big up Edinburgh City. Of course, the series on the channel. Now, for the rest of this video, you will see Lewis reacting to his predictions before the season happened, and Dillon's. So yeah, their links will be in the description, etc. Enjoy! Okay, we are now joined by Lewis to hear his prediction reactions. Has he got more right than me? Has he got more wrong? Let's see. It's just the SPFL predictions from Lewis. So let's run through. Lewis, who did you have in that 12th spot in the Cinch Premiership?
I had Ross County, and well, come on.
Yeah, Ross County had a great season. All of us appeared to quite underrate them. However, we'll see what Dillon's is later, but he didn't put them that highly as well. Ross County did finish a lot higher in 6th. Who was your 11th though?
I had Dundee.
I mean, not far off. That is 1 point on the point scale, which is 1 point for 1 point off, 3 points for the correct. So I had 6, that's you on 1 already. On to 10th place.
I had Motherwell.
That's another not so good one. Everyone's favourite meme team, and she is fine thanks, as they finish 5th place, getting a European spot as they'll be in the Conference League 3rd round, I believe it is. So on to 9th.
I had David Martindale's band of total idiots.
Yeah, not a very fun team to play, and they've had quite a decent season, unlucky with the split as they finished 7th place in the Scottish Premiership. Who did you have in 8th though?
I had Dundee United because I relied on St Johnstone carrying on the good form from last year, being higher than them.
Dundee United, I think they shocked a few people, but it is good and healthy for Scottish football having a good Dundee United with them being one of the bigger clubs in the league. So who did you have in 7th place?
I had St Mirren, right?
I have it written down here that you put Kilmarnock, that famous championship winners of the season, beating Arbroath, ending their fairy tale with their championship victory. But I do know you did mean St Mirren, but with Kilmarnock we're taking 1 point off your scoreboard.
This is racism.
So on to 6th place.
I had Hearts with, well,
Hearts very much shocked everyone as it was their first season back after that nightmare season just before COVID. also got relegated via COVID instead of Hamilton. But they bounced back up and they managed to get third place, confirming it before even the split started. Europa League playoff round, guaranteed group stage football. Brilliant from the Jambos on to 5th place.
I heard St Johnstone thinking they won 2 cups last year, they'd go on and continue great form this year.
Yeah, St Johnstone very much underperformed. These videos were, of course, uploaded before the transfer window ended, and we didn't really see all the good players like Ali McCann and Kerr leaving. 2 big players. I mean, the captain Kerr, before going to Wigan, scored away at Galatasaray. Big moment that. But sadly, St Johnstone fell off a lot, finishing near the bottom of the table. So on to 4th.
I had Hibs, which, I mean, looked sound on paper, but it's all gone wrong.
Yeah, Hibs that they finished in the bottom half after finishing 3rd last season. They looked like they were on the up, might be able to, set themselves into getting European spot after European spot, season after season. But they're very much fallen off. It'll be interesting to see who they get as their next manager. And yeah, on to 3rd.
I've gone for Aberdeen, but again, looked like it could be sound, but again, bottom half.
Yeah, Aberdeen are a massive club that have underperformed, usually in and around Europe, usually in and around the cup finals as well. But this season has been very poor as they look to progress past the former manager, Derek McInnes, who has won the title with Kilmarnock, of course. So on to 2nd place. What big 2 did you put 2nd? What 1 did you put 1st?
In 2nd, I went for a team that could apparently win the league with 2 teams, but didn't win it at all.
Oh, is that the team that would have sent Ange Postecoglou home by Christmas?
And last time I checked, he has a trophy in his hands.
He's actually got 2.
Wow.
So Rangers 2nd, and I'm guessing you have the boys in green in 1st place.
On top of the league, looking down on the Rangers.
As Celtic claimed back the Cinch Premiership title from Rangers in a big rebuild job. What a job Big Ange has done. Now time to hear what Dillon's thoughts were on the season before it happened.
So, at 12th I had Ross County. I thought Ross County were one of 2 teams that could go down, and I took a look at their squad and decided that they were my favourites to get relegated. But they were one of a number of teams that surprised me in the end, with a hugely respectable 6th place finish, with Regan Charles-Cook eventually finishing as joint top scorer and carrying them to a very good campaign. At 11th I had Dundee FC. Dundee FC were the other club that I thought could face relegation this season, and it turns out I was right on that one at least. Dundee FC had a pretty shambolic season and ended up finishing 12th with a total of 29 points, which was 6 below the team that eventually finished 11th. Not good for them. At 10th, I had St Mirren. I felt that St Mirren would be a team that would be perfectly content just staying in the division, but not really breaking any records as such. On that front, I was right. However, they did eventually finish 9th, so that was another one that I was 1 place off getting correct. At 9th, I had Dundee United. After coming up only a couple seasons ago, I thought that Dundee United would have a respectable, if not great, 2021-22 season. I was pretty wrong about that, as they eventually ended up finishing a hugely impressive 4th place, with their defence especially impressing me throughout the campaign. At 8th, I had Hearts. If you don't know already, I'm a huge Hearts fan, so you can imagine that I'm going to talk about this one for a wee while. Going into the season, I thought we'd have a pretty average season as far as Hearts goes, as we just come up from the Championship and our squad hadn't quite taken shape yet. However, from the very start of the season, we looked like we were comfortably the 3rd best team in the league, and despite a few slip-ups, we ended up finishing 3rd, well clear of Dundee United in 4th. The crazy thing to me, though, is that I felt we could have done even better. This season, Hearts lost a lot of games that they could have turned into draws or wins, especially away from home, and if we ended up being a little more consistent, I feel we could have put the old firm under some serious pressure this season. Europe's not bad though. At 7th, I had St Johnstone. Well, this is up there with my worst predictions of the entire video. I thought that after coming off a domestic double the previous season, St Johnstone would finish in a perfectly respectable and reasonable 7th place. However, that went badly wrong. They did end up finishing in the bottom half, but they were 4 places lower as they eventually finished 11th, 6 points above Dundee FC at the bottom. They were honestly a defensive embarrassment the entire season. 6. Motherwell. Aye, she's alright, pal. I felt that Motherwell were pretty much the most average team in the league when I was making these predictions, and I was pretty much proven right on that, although they did eventually finish one spot up in 5th. At 5th, I had Plastic Pitch FC, Livingston. I thought the Tony Macaroni Arena would be seeing a little bit of glory this season, with a good 5th place showing, building off their 6th place finish the season prior. In the end, they finished 7th, so I wasn't too far off. At 4th, I had Hibs. Sorry. I can't help but laugh at how badly Hibs fell off this season. I put my unbiased goggles on for this one when I was making these predictions, and I had them as finishing 4th, as they just finished 3rd the previous season and looked like a team on the rise. 2 manager sackings later, and they eventually finished 8th, but at one point in my eyes, it even looked like they could go down. It was that bad. Brutal. In 3rd, I had Aberdeen. This right here is the worst prediction I've ever made, not just in that video, but overall in my entire life, at anything. I don't think I can even try to justify this one, to be honest. They finished 10th, and at one point it looked like they would go down. I have absolutely no clue where to place the blame, or what caused this horrible showing this season, but they were abhorrent. I'll blame Scott Brown, I guess. And now for the top 2. At 2nd place, I had Celtic, as I thought they were just at the start of a huge rebuild that would take a couple of years to come fully into effect, and they just hired some Australian guy nobody had ever heard of to manage their team. On the flip side, I had Rangers finishing top again, as I felt they were just the more complete and well-balanced side, with a young manager at the helm in Gerrard. If you don't quite remember, Gerrard left, they replaced him with some midget, and they eventually bottled the league to Ange Postecoglou's Celtic side. I guess a Europa League final isn't a bad consolation though. Right, thanks for listening to me ranting and raving for a wee while. If you like my part of the video, you can see my YouTube channel down in the description. Shoutouts to Kevin Twist. Goodbye.